Harris, Trump locked in tight race ahead of election. The 2024 United States presidential election is scheduled to take place on Tuesday, November 5, 2024, with Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump locked in an extraordinarily tight race for the White House. Ahead of Election Day, tens of millions of voters have taken part in early voting events across the U.S. The winner will serve a term of 4 years in the White House, starting in January 2025. Former President Donald Trump is contesting under the Republican Party, winning the party's support with a massive lead over his rivals. Trump chose Ohio Senator J.D. Vance to be his vice presidential running mate. His opponent, Kamala Harris, the current U.S. Vice President, is the candidate for the Democratic Party, joining the race after President Joe Biden dropped out and no other Democrat stood against her. She chose Minnesota Governor Tim Walz as her running mate for vice president. Meanwhile, there are other independent candidates running for president. One of the most prominent was Robert F. Kennedy Jr., but he suspended his campaign in August and backed Trump. Others are Libertarian Party nominee Chase Oliver Jill Stein, contesting under the Green Party, Independent Party candidate Cornel West, and more. Trump, a 78-year-old Republican, survived 2 assassination attempts, one by millimeters, just weeks after a jury in New York, the city whose tabloids first elevated him to national fame and notoriety, made him the first former U.S. president to be convicted of a felony. Harris, 60, was catapulted to the top of the Democratic ticket in July, giving her a chance to become the first woman to hold the world's most powerful job. After President Joe Biden, 81, had a disastrous debate performance and 3 weeks later dropped his re-election bid under pressure from his party. Both candidates are in a final sprint across key battleground states, with Harris to campaign in Pennsylvania ahead of the election and Trump heading to North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Michigan. The polls suggest the race is still exceptionally close and more than 78 million people have already voted. In the 2024 election, issues highlighted by Harris include tackling the cost of living crisis and supporting abortion rights. The Republicans are the conservative political party. They have stood for lower taxes, shrinking the size of the government, and gun rights. Issues Trump has campaigned on include tackling illegal immigration and ending inflation to make America affordable again. There are 50 states in the U.S., and most of them vote for the same party, Democratic or Republican, at every election. Across the entire U.S., there are a total of 538 electoral college votes up for grabs, and the winner will be the candidate that gets 270 or more. Meanwhile, voters will also be choosing new members of Congress where laws are passed when they fill in their ballots. Congress consists of the House of Representatives, where all 435 seats are up for election, and the Senate, where 34 seats are being contested. Republicans currently control the House, which initiates spending plans. Democrats are in charge of the Senate, which votes on key appointments in government. These 2 chambers pass laws and can act as a check on White House plans if the controlling party in either chamber disagrees with the president. Usually, the winner is declared on the night of the election, but in 2020, it took a few days to count all the votes. The period after the election is known as the transition, if there is a change of president. This gives the new administration time to appoint cabinet ministers and make plans for the new term. The president is officially sworn into office in January in a ceremony known as the inauguration, held on the steps of the Capitol building in Washington, D.C.